Welcome to the Arbutus software tutorial series. This tutorial will discuss how to access IMS data residing on the mainframe using Arbutus software technology. When defining IMS data on the mainframe, the first thing that you need to establish is a connection between the desktop software called Analyzer with the server software. This is done using something called a server profile. I'll go in here and choose IMS enabled. Here is the profile that we've set up to connect to our mainframe and enable the IMS capabilities. Once you have this information, including your TSO ID and your password, placed in the profile and you're able to successfully connect, I'll just do this here, you can see we're making the connection. Once the connection has been established, then you know that you're okay to go in and start defining data on the mainframe. I'll go in here and select New Table from our overview. We'll select the correct profile. Server profile is IMS enabled. And because we already have a connection, we don't have to wait for another connection to occur there. IMS is now available to us. I'll select the radio button to define IMS database information and select Next. The information I'm looking for is called lone seg M, and there are two different segments. You can see here there's a root segment and a second segment called lone seg M. And unlike DB2 or other relational databases you may be familiar with, this database is a hierarchical database. So typically what happens is you have definitions already written, usually in COBOL, which define the various different segments of this database versus having all the information stored in a relational database manner like you're used to. When we select Next, the option of external definition is selected, and we choose Next again, and we get to the various different options, COBOL being the one that's selected by default, as it's the most common form of external definition on the mainframe. When we click Next, we get to choose the various different copybooks which will define the IMS segments, and I'm going to start by just typing in here. The first one is lone root, and there's a little checkbox at the bottom here where I can select to concatenate multiple copybooks. So in this case, each copybook is defining a certain segment of the IMS database data. So the first part is the root, the second part is the seg M section, and when I select Next, we now have the option of either defining just one of those copybooks, which is the default setting, or we can choose to append the two copybooks together and basically create definitions or fields for one long row of IMS data. So each copybook is defining a segment or a section of the record in the IMS database. When we select Next, it gives us a little warning here about a field called loan date, which is just telling us we can change it from character data to a date time field, which is not supported in COBOL, but it is supported with Arbutus. And when I select Next, it defaults to lone seg M as the table name, and I'll just go ahead and choose that. When we select Finish, you'll see that what it's done is it's taken the information, and based on the copybook, we now have fields defined for the various different records in the database based on each individual set of fields that were in the copybook. So although it's a little bit different than defining DB2 data on the mainframe, it's also just as easy. For more information regarding accessing mainframe data using Arbutus software technology, please contact your local distributor or sales@arbutussoftware.com.